Go live.
Right. Download the stream.
I'm really scared of touching anything.
Download the StreamYard app on your phone. Download just as a backup.
Okay.
This has been... Welcome back to the Cannon Podcast. I'm so stressed. We're on, yeah, we're live.
We're not live.
No, we're live.
It says scheduled on mine.
No, we're live. I can see people watching. It's fine.
Really?
Why are you called FFTT?
Wait, I don't get why mine has it as scheduled. You know, on the top right. What's going on? I'm actually on then, yeah?
You're live. Say hello to everyone.
Hello. I don't want to touch anything though. This is the thing. I don't want
to explain what's just happened. Are you all right?
I'm okay. It's live. Yes. Oh God, that was scaring me. Because I swear to God, let me take a screenshot of this. Actually, hold on. Actually, no, I can't take a screenshot because it says live now. Oh my God.
No, of what? Screenshot of what?
No, basically on my screen it has like on the top right instead of live it has scheduled. And it just had
It'll
scheduled.
take a sec to upload to update. Sorry.
Okay, we're on.
We're live. Welcome back to the Cannon Podcast live.
We're cooking.
Hey everyone, how's it going? We're back. Apologies for the delay. Rohan was having some issues with.
I might just sit here. So
just don't touch anything. But you're on your work laptop or your old laptop?
No, the old laptop that we thought was making that noise, but I don't think it is that. I don't think it is. I think it's the chair.
Right, Nabye. So happy FFTT could join us. I'm starting a new thing on TCP Live. I think at the start of every show, the chat should get to vote on what we're named.
Yeah, why am I FTT?
Because you put that when you came in.
Oh,
You selected that.
I was stressed, not gonna lie. I don't get why it wasn't working on my work laptop. I don't understand.
It might have been the permissions or something, because you have to get permissions to do it. You're a bit laggy as well.
Am I really bad?
No, I think it's okay. I actually think it's fine. Yeah, it was lagging for a second, but I think it's fine.
I think my internet's pretty good. Not gonna lie.
It's the one thing. Chat, what are we saying? For the names? I think they should be allowed to name us as as a thing for every podcast. What do you think of that?
I think so. As long as it's not Rizan. I don't like Rizan.
I quite like you as FFTT though. It's kind of like a little nod to.
Because do you know what it is? I realised on this laptop the O and the A still don't.
They still don't work.
They still don't work because I haven't had time to sort it really.
But that's hasn't that been the case for like a good 3 years at this point?
Well, not 3 years.
It's been a while.
Definitely a year. Definitely.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Because I don't really use it that much. So now I was like, I can't be bothered to start copying and pasting letters to get my actual name on. So I just went with the first few letters that were closest to my fingers.
Alejandro, first in the chat. Boo! They're taking too long to give us Rohan's cute laughs and giggles. Yeah, your giggle is getting its own sort of fan club.
I don't know why. It's just
because it's so cute. It's so
you know what
cute.
It is?
You're a very cute laugh.
Do you know in the office sometimes when I do laugh, there's always a few people like, "Oh, there's the Rohan laugh."
Yeah, it's quite distinctive. It's very cute.
Oh, I'm not lagging, right?
No, I think you're fine. I actually think you're fine.
Yeah.
Wait, should we do a little... Wait, say one when you hear me say one. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
1.
Yeah, you're fine. It's not too bad. It's fine. Alejandro, really appreciate you giving us a super chat. And Ivan Smith says, donation to help Rohan get a new laptop. Ivan's still got a picture of you as his profile picture.
I feel like I'm not symmetrical with my camera as well, but I don't want to really touch it.
Honestly, don't touch it.
We're cooking though. 19% charge.
We're cooking. Okay, it's coming. It'll help. It's fine.
Marinating. It's
marinating. We've put all the veg and stuff in the what's it called? In the pot. You can tell how much I cook. Put all the veg in the pot, and the stew's coming. We might have put a stock cube in, and we're just starting to stir. It's just starting to come to the boil. It's gonna happen.
I like that.
Someone's saying I should be called Cringe.
I know what you should be called.
No, it's the chat. The chat got name us.
I've got a name for you. Well, it's a phrase, really.
Go on.
Howard Webb's payroll. I'm not gonna lie, I've not seen any of it. I just wanted to just troll.
I'll take that. Honestly, I'll take it's better than that, which I'm not going to say, George. Do we want to talk about that? I've got loads of stuff planned. Loads of stuff. Media narrative.
I feel like we're going to be here for a long, long time.
This is going to be it. Yeah,
laptop pending. Laptop pending.
First thing to say, so I want to talk international break. I want to talk Jack Wilshere. I want to talk Tuchel. We want to give out some very premature awards for the season. I've got some categories. I've got 7 categories, but I also want to get ideas from the chat. We'll give some stuff
because
out.
I'm not happy.
Oh, with your tweet, yeah, okay. I want to talk about City and season tickets. I'll come to that in a second. I want to talk Ben White because he had a great interview, but I want to talk about him in the future. Do a bit of a Bournemouth preview and talk about the upcoming fixtures. But as always, it's TCP Live. Who knows where it's going to go? Who knows where it's going to go? Ivan Smith in the chat. Thanks for the super chat. If the chat asks for it, I'll change my pick to baby-faced Alex. I had a main channel video on Different Knock this week, and I put some pictures of me as a teenager, which is a bit of a risk actually when I think about it.
It is a risk. I'm not gonna lie, the picture that I put out as well, kind of regretting it slightly. The one that Ivan Smith has right now.
Yeah, it's cute though. It's cute.
It's awful, mate. Honestly, it's awful.
And we haven't mentioned the thumbnail. It's unbelievable from forward. I'm actually going to get it up on the screen so we can dissect it.
I feel like I've been done dirty again here.
Yeah, but it's the narrative, isn't it, of the show? You've got to lean into it.
Yeah,
I'm just going to get it. I'm just going to get it.
Oh my god, we're cooking. We're on 22%. We're cooking.
Yeah, we're cooking. Look at this. Alex Ford made this as our thumbnail. That is unbelievable. I mean, that is terrifying. Me and Erdegaard.
I think it's quite good. I think it goes well. The eyes and the hair and
And there's you sort of relative to scale as well. Sort of where you'd come up to on my shoulders. And the detail on it. A TCP Live Awards. I don't know what that is. At the London Football Award. But it's really good.
I'm interested to see how long it actually takes them to do it. Because they are very creative. Yeah, actually do the thumbnails.
Very
good.
It's very, very good. And it's also what I like. It's got like a slightly sexual in nature, but not too suggestive. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah?
It's nice.
Appeal?
I like it.
Is it?
Appeal, yeah. A little nod. Yeah. A little nod.
How are you, Alex, by the way? Before we, after the car crash
thanks
start,
for asking.
I'm not.
How am I? Do you know what? This is going to be quite a U-turn for the pod, but it's how I feel. I was genuinely really quite affected by the news about Liam Payne. Genuinely quite affected by that last night. And I know there's loads and loads of context around that. And I know there's loads and loads of, there's another conversation we can have about that and what's going on in the world. But just isolating that, it's like the first big celebrity that was of like my generation that's passed away.
Same with me, mate. Same with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, of our generation. So it was just, like, not that I was ever like a massive fan of Liam Payne or he was okay, whatever. Like I didn't particularly care for his music, but yeah, it's like, it's a weird moment for me. So to be honest, I've had a bit of a weird day, just like slightly feeling like, God, life is very short.
I feel like it really does hit you because like you said, when growing up, One Direction, that was kind of like the main group that is kind of always projected onto you. Genuinely, like it's projected onto you. Like when growing up, watching different like shows on Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, they would always make like an appearance on any of those shows. Like always, they would be the ones. And I actually caught up the news just before I went to bed as well, and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep for like for a good hour or so because it's like, wow, that's mad. Because it hits you. I mean, for me personally, and I don't want to go into it, but what's happening in Gaza, that's affected me a lot. Recently, seeing it all unfold, that's really hit me. And then this as well. Now it's just, because it does give you perspective, and this is why I always feel like you've got to try and maximize every moment of life. I know it's kind of, people could say it's like cringe or it's a classic saying, but genuinely like maximize every single moment. And when you like, for example, in families, I know from my experience, there are a lot of disputes that I've heard of between families, etc., disagreements, and people don't even talk to each other. And I'm like, well, I feel like sometimes you just got to put that to the side and just realize, live in the moment, and it's because who knows what can happen tomorrow, the day after, and so on. Yeah, mate.
Yeah, life's just so short, man, and we're so lucky to live where we live, and to have the lives that we have in so many ways, and also to have time to do stuff like this, enjoy leisure time and talk about stuff that we love. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of amazing.
Because I actually love doing this. Genuinely, it's one of the things I look for.
We're
Today,
so
obviously,
lucky to do it.
the things that I wake up and oh, I've got work. I don't mind. I like work, but it's still work. And then I go to the gym and oh yes, I'm going live today. And I know it'll be good fun because it's just chilled and do cherish it. Genuinely.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's great, and we're very, very lucky. But yeah, I think the one thing I'll take away from this is if I had therapy today and I actually spoke about it in therapy. If anyone's struggling with clearly there was, I'm not going to go into Liam Payne, but clearly there was some stuff going on for him. If you are struggling, please talk to someone. It's so important, and it may feel, I think, especially for men as well, it may feel like what's talking going to achieve because we're so solution focused. Yeah. But once you've got something off your chest, you feel so much better. Everyone knows that, but it's just important as a reminder.
And it's also sometimes you feel better when you tell someone that you don't know. Sometimes it's like when you it doesn't feel the same when you tell someone that you've never spoken to before, you've never seen before, and you're able to kind of unleash everything that's on your mind and just getting everything off your chest. It feels good, and
it is good.
No, definitely.
It is good. It is good. And and there's some people, who really do care out there, which is nice. Yeah. Benji Allen says, massive Curry and TCP live on my 30th birthday. Beautiful. And on that, we just hit 20,000 subscribers. 20,000 subscribers, which is amazing.
You and George.
No.
And George.
No. Absolutely not having this narrative. You are a massive part of it. But everyone in the chat, that is who are the subscribers? You guys. So that's it's thank you so much. And I know George echoes this as well. So I'll speak for him as well. But yeah, we're so grateful for this community and just having people and talking about Arsenal. It's so cool. We feel like this thing we're growing. We're so excited about it. We're so
in a title winning season as well. That's what
in a title winning season. It's amazing. Benji, happy birthday, my friend. But yeah, it's an amazing community we're building. Thank you guys so much. George says as well. So thank you so much, and we're going to keep on growing, and we're going to keep on building and having more people on it and getting people involved and stuff. It's really cool. So thanks everyone. Also, we are going to talk about football. Just give us a second. If you're able to, if you listen to the Cannon Podcast on Spotify or Apple, would you give us a rating? Because we haven't got any ratings.
Have we not?
I don't think so. Not on Apple, I don't think. Certainly not on Apple.
Oh.
It might be me writing under a different name.
Maybe I'll just make I'll just make many accounts and I'll just keep.
If you listen, because I know some people do. If you listen on Apple or Spotify, would you give us a rating? Ideally a nice one.
Yeah.
Ideally, but I've had bad ratings in the past, so it happens. But yeah, if you could, that'd be unbelievable. Anyway, housekeeping, technical issues, and deep chats out the way.
And we're cooking. I feel like I'm confident touching my laptop as well. 31%.
We're cooking.
Maybe not touch it too much though.
yeah. Don't touch it.
Is my mic working, by the way?
It is. There we go. Excited. Amit said it straight. Second comment in the chat. 28 days left until another international break, guys. Let's go. It's nearly over, people. It is nearly
actually,
over.
there are always 3 international breaks before Christmas. I swear there's only 2. Apparently, there's always 3 from the start of the season and before Christmas. I've always felt like it's 2, and then there's 1 in March. So there's 3 in total. But
yeah.
There's 4 in total.
Sorry, I will come back to what you just said, but I've been distracted by Ivan Smith. I saw 2 people asking that is good enough. This was the worst frame I could find from the Calafiori. Ivan, you could have found the one of me looking like literally as a child. There's one of me in an Arsenal shirt, and I've rolled up my sleeves because I'm so skinny, and it's like the shirt's too big for me.
Snubbles came back.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Thank you, Ivan Smith. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I feel like you could have done me dirtier, but I'll take that. Look, we're not going to really get the conversation about the international breaks. It's just boring. I think there's a nice aspect to it in that it slightly breaks up the chunks if you're doing well, is what I'm saying. I think sometimes there's like an aspect of it. It's like if it was like a week, we had like 1 week off, and it was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's maybe it's the only thing I like about it, but mostly it's just me stressing. I said this on I've been on Arsblog today, which was really, really cool. Andrew's such a nice guy, man. He's really cool. It was really surreal because I've been listening for like 10 years. And I said, like, I kind of wish I lived in a different era because, especially on international breaks, normally you just can forget about football. But because of social media and because of like the news media and cycle, you get every single update.
Yeah.
Martinelli has just had a wee. Martinelli has just left the hospital. Martinelli has just taken a step with his left foot. And like, it's cool on some level that you have such access or whatever. But equally, like there is a part of me that's just like, we just don't need to know.
Sometimes the surprise is a little bit better as well, isn't it? Like, do you remember back in the day, teletext on BBC?
Oh, yeah.
Those are the days, man. Teletext to get all your news. Oh, man. That was good.
It was peak, but we're back. We are back, which is exciting. A couple more things before we get into sort of Arsenal stuff. Thomas Tuchel has been appointed as the England manager. Obviously, I'm paid to defend Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, so I can't say this, but I'm just gonna breach contract a second and say that what they said was ridiculous, personally, in my opinion. Look, I think there is a genuinely good conversation about English coaching and about the prohibitive nature of like how expensive the UEFA Pro license is, how often ex-pros get on the courses and actually better coaches don't get seen for it, how often ex-pros get big opportunities when actually they haven't got the experience for it. Yes, they've been in football, but they haven't been coaching for 20 years as some people have, right? There's definitely a conversation about, female representation. There's definitely a conversation about English coaches and as a whole. I'm really genuinely interested in that conversation, and I'm probably not the most qualified to have it, but we'll have it. But equally, there's this other aspect of me going downstream. How can you be upset that arguably the best tournament manager in world football, arguably, or certainly one of the best, has just signed, who understands the English game, has worked in the English game, is unbelievably charismatic. Did you see his first press conference?
I've not seen it.
The way he connects with journalists and stuff. Like he's like really playful and interesting, and like said like answers in a really interesting way, but also knows the game. It's kind of like the Arteta thing. Also, like the in-game tweaks he does. Like I really like this appointment. I really like this. And if you don't like it because of the English coach conversation, that's fair enough. But that's a different conversation. And I think some people might not like it because he's German. Frankly, let's call it out for what it is. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, but I do fear that the way. Well, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, they are on platforms that are massive and they're projecting their views to a really big audience. And I do feel like I'm seeing a lot of pundits and a lot of ex-players kind of, not feeling great about the appointment because of those things to do with him being German and, the patriotic side of things. Because when you look at other countries and other nations and their managers, Spain's managers, Spanish, Italy's managers, Italian, France's managers, French, Germany's managers, German, etc., etc. But that's more down to the quality of the coaches that those nations have relative to the coaches that we have here. And that's not all the fault of the people who are trying to learn, who are trying to improve in the game. It is down to the finances, as you allude to. I think to obtain certain licenses in this country, it's like 10 times more expensive than in other nations, and that's a massive part to it. And I think, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think firstly there's been some question marks about. I've seen some like community notes on some of those things that have been going around, and I've been going like, I'm not, but it's definitely more expensive. And just to pick up on a point you made there about the nationality, I don't know why it makes it any less exciting for England to win if it's with a German manager. Like I don't get that. I'm genuinely not trying to be like this sort of virtue signally, like, oh man, like, I get it. I get what people are saying, but for me, I'm like, it doesn't make it. One of the things I love about England is I have friends from all over the world. Like and that's what makes the Premier League so amazing. Yeah, that everyone can come together around this thing and be part of the UK. And obviously, there's problems in it as well. But one of the things that makes English football so good, the thing, arguably, because there's never been an English coach who's won the Premier League, is foreign influence. Yes. So for me, it makes it better. I don't get that.
I also think that I think if we if we the perspective I'll try and give people is now Gareth Southgate, I've got a lot of question marks over a lot of things that he's done. But one thing that he did do is he united the nation and he allowed England fans to go on this journey in which England fans were enjoying tournament football in terms of, going far and deep into competitions and just missing out. They've gone through that journey with, an English national, managing the country and taking England that far. But now it's about winning, and when you've got the pool of talent that England have, you need to recruit the best available. And Thomas Tuchel, as Arsenal fans, we know very recently how good he is in knockout competitions. Bayern Munich last season, for me, I didn't think we deserved to go through personally. Sorry?
He did us.
Yeah, he absolutely. Well, what it was, and it was really interesting because, and I don't want to go too tactical in it, but I remember when I watched the first game and I rewatched it because I went to the game, and we went 1-0 up, and we had an incredible first 15 minutes, and he tweaked it because Erdegaard was dropping really deep to try and get onto the ball. He's stepping outside the block, and he was given a lot of time and space to dictate, and we were playing those balls over the top, in which Havertz was kind of winning the knockdown and releasing Saka, White, etc. And what he did after that is he tweaked it, and they went completely man-to-man across the right-hand side, and they left Gabriel or Kivior or Tomiyasu in the second leg, the spare man, because they recognised the threat through the left when we funnel play through the left is not as potent through the right. And it really affected us because Lima, for me, had one of the best performances out of possession that I've seen against Arsenal. He was an animal, and he was fantastic in the game against Real Madrid as well. But Thomas Tuchel has done this time and time again in his career. You go back to the Champions League win against Pep Guardiola. And by the way, that wasn't a fluke. As much as I hate Chelsea, that was a well-deserved win for them.
He conceded like 4 goals or something crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, it's like when he came in, he'd beaten Pep, I think, 1 or 2 times in the league before the Champions League. So I think it was 3 wins in total against Pep in that period. But then I also remember when Chelsea played against Liverpool. I don't know if you remember it. And it's kind of like the comp that I've always rinsed about Havertz as a number 9 in the Carabao Cup. Right? I've always rinsed that. And in that season, Chelsea got to the final in the Carabao Cup and in the FA Cup against Liverpool both times. They lost both times. Lost on penalties. Outplayed Liverpool, genuinely outplayed them. Mason Mount, if he was able to finish his dinner in those moments, they would have walked away with 2
huge chances.
Huge chances, mate, honestly. And this is what he has done.
And that's the coach's job. That's the coach's job.
Exactly. And even in some of the Champions League runs that he's had, I mean, he's the only guy who has taken PSG to a Champions League final for, a significant amount of time. I mean, we talk about PSG not being able to get over the line. Thomas Tuchel was the closest there. And he was also... He gave a good account of himself against Bayern Munich in that final as well. So he's got a really good sample size of doing so well in knockout competitions. And what do England need? They need a knockout specialist. And I think this is a perfect fit because Thomas Tuchel, the issues that he's had over the years, I think are transfer related predominantly. He doesn't need to focus on that. He just needs to focus on the current crop of players, identifying the best talent, and tactically setting up the team that is going to allow England to have success and to get over the line. England have had the journey with Southgate and the joys of being able to, go through each game and get into the finals and the semi-finals, etc. But now it's about winning. And I think, for me, it's very disrespectful what pundits, ex-players are saying about him strictly because of the fact that he's, not English. Look at his CV, look at what he has done in the game, and then recognize what England need. It's a perfect fit. Genuinely.
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. I think it's really well laid out, and I think we forget how close he was to another Champions League final this year. He was 2 Hosselu 88th minute goals away from.
Just quickly on that, Alex. I think sometimes people think it's a conflict of interest because him being German and managing England, and what happens if they face Germany in a latter stage. I don't buy into that because, and I know it's not a great example, right? But in cricket, in the World Cup final back in 2011, India won the World Cup, right? Our manager was South African. He's South African. So there's so many examples there in which, nations have success in sport with a coach who isn't of that origin. It's
Vicente Del Bosque. What was he? When he was playing, when was Del Bosque? Was he a Spanish manager?
He was a Spanish manager, yeah. When Spain won it in
But
20.
didn't he manage Brazil or something? I can't remember. There was some kind of. Am I making that? There's some kind of Spanish. I remember like there's a couple of World Cup winners who there's some examples. I don't think it's Del Bosque actually.
Yeah.
There's some examples of big wins with non-native coaches. And look, and again, I just think it's maybe you could look at other countries and say, well, what about them? What about them? Well, we're not them. We've got the Premier League, which is one of the best products in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe the best football products in the world, and it is made better by foreign influence. So this idea that we're just going to do it alone, British, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I think. Do
you think also that let's say Thomas Tuchel has a bad start? Do you feel like the criticism that he'll receive will be, of a higher level than Gareth? That's one of the fears that I do have. I feel like any sort of turbulence, there's going to be a lot more negative press on him. Due to
maybe, but are we gonna see one thing from? You'll know what I'm asking this question from. Are we gonna see one thing from the overlap and go, oh, that proves it? There's a bias. Like I think maybe a couple of people from in certain spaces, probably the likes of, ironically, the overlap and so on and so forth, because frankly they want English coaches, and I get that. But I think actually when you look under and this is why I always say, the space has changed, man. We're kind of, and it's like the One Direction thing earlier. Like One Direction was so big for you and I, even though we didn't really listen to their music because it was all there was on TV.
Yes.
Now, everyone can choose their own media diet completely, and so the power has gone back into the audience's hands. And if you go on, look at the short, for example, that Jamie and Gary released about their opinion on this. Every comment is disagreeing. Yeah. Almost every single comment, maybe a couple, 10, 15%. But that's the majority. And because we still go, oh, Sky, big company, they're running the narrative. No, it's genuinely a couple of people who think they have the platform, but actually opinion is different.
Yeah. I'm just interested to see what happens and how it's kind of, project what is out there in the papers and in all these sorts of, publications as to what happens during adversity. I mean, we don't know, but
Well, I'll be defending them, whatever happens. Just so you know, Mr. Media Narrative. Mr. Media Narrative. Should we talk, just sort of transitioning to football then? Just quickly, I want to talk two things before we go. So Howard Webb, I do want to talk about this because this is a kind of mental thing, and I'm setting aside the conversation about Arsenal. I'm talking about the rule of delaying the restart. If you didn't see this, Howard Webb was on the overlap today, talking to the panel there, talking about the delaying the restart rule, and he gives the example of Arsenal, but it's the rule he's talking about. He basically makes he says that the reason that Trossard gets a yellow and Szoboszlai doesn't, even though they're in the same position, is because of game state. He basically says, because Arsenal have something to gain from that, from kicking the ball away, we give him a yellow. But because Szoboszlai, go listen to it. It's about 21 minutes in. And because Szoboszlai doesn't, then the rule doesn't apply to that. I find that mental. And by the way, before anyone says that's an Arsenal bias proved, it will be happening to other people. I'm talking about the rule itself. The rule is being implemented across the board. Palmer, Edison, Bernardo Silva, Craig Dawson all got booked for delaying the restart in the last game week. So we're not having that conversation. But the conversation we're having is about that. The rule itself can't be subjective. It has to be, my opinion, it should be if you kick it away twice, you get a yellow. That's my opinion. And then maybe one more, you get a second yellow, or whatever you want to do. It can't be the first incident personally. But if it is, it has to be, if you do it, you get a yellow. You can't make that subjective about game state. That is mental.
This is not going to last. I'm telling you, this is not going to last.
Mental.
You're opening a whole, what is it? Can of worms, is it? Yeah.
Can of worms, yeah.
It's actually, I've not listened to it because I refuse to listen to it because I'm not going to lie. And I can't stand him. In this country, I can't stand the PGMO. I genuinely can't stand them. I'm fed up of it, genuinely. And from what you're saying there, that is, that's nonsense. Honestly, that is nonsense. How can you tell? I mean, by the way, Nottingham. So what? So Szoboszlai kicking the ball away, that has not influenced that game state. That's what he's.
Let's make it non-Arsenal, a non like real.
Yeah, that's
let's
what I'm saying. Supposedly, that's what I'm looking
City.
at.
Let's say it's City and Everton, right? So
Yeah.
it's City. Actually, AFC James gave this a great example. If it's City versus Southampton, and it's 0-0, and a Man City player kicks the ball away, because they might win the game, does that mean that they're not actually disadvantaging themselves? How would you be able to tell? Just make it black and white. Is
he reverse engineering as well? Is he trying to justify that decision?
I
think that's what it is. He's trying to justify that decision.
I don't think they thought the rule through, basically.
And this is why he's a melt. And this is why I don't listen to it, because
I'm on his payroll, mate.
You're on his payroll. Because the thing is, right, Alex, you know me, I'll listen to all sorts of things. Like, I've listened to the Ben White interview almost. I'll listen to also, various different things. I refuse to listen to that guy. I genuinely refuse to listen to it because everything he says is absolute nonsense, and it's all like, oh yeah, well, we didn't give this because it's about this, and then but we gave that because it's about that.
He also there's a thing that people. Like, he went on and they were talking about like the Liverpool-Tottenham thing last season, and one of the guys was like, "Oh yeah, that thing happened," and then he went like, "Oh, need a drink of coffee for this one."
Yeah,
and you're like, "Bro, it's deeper. It's like millions of pounds on the line. Like you can't like we can joke about it. You can't.
You can't. Yeah, exactly.
You can't joke about that. Sorry."
George an
says,
idiot. I hate that guy.
Kind of centipedes. George was saying, bless him, because I said on we did a scouted, and he said, "Sorry to put my tin pot hat on." I was like, "It's tin foil hat." I love him. To
be fair, I've had some absolute stinkers as well. So
why did you apologise so much after last week's ep?
Okay, right. No, because I just felt like there was that moment where I zoned out and I completely just forgot what you said, and I was like, I was so upset with myself. I'm quite harsh on myself, genuinely. Genuinely, I'm quite harsh on myself in reality as well, just in general. Like, I try to be the best version I can, always.
Why is that? Should we do a little bit of light psychotherapy?
I don't really focus too much on when people like praise me on something. So I like to look at more of the criticisms, because I feel like that's the best way to grow. And I like, for example, we could have we could have an hour-long pod, and maybe it all goes well, and I won't really focus on that sort of stuff. I'll focus on the stuff like where maybe I stuttered there, or maybe I just zoned out there and stuff like that. That's just how I am.
Break. Give us you're a human.
I'm fine. I'm not like that. I'm out.
No, I know, but you're human. Like, you make mistakes. It happens.
For sure. But we're good. You're
a superstar podcaster now, so.
You are the
Jack Wilshere. No. So you hate yourself.
I love how on Twitter, I'll like, when we like reply to each other, it's always just resorts back to that.
Mental stuff. It's like, and also, I love that people get involved now. It's really funny. Okay, Jack Wilshere is moving to Norwich. So Ben Napper is is he director of football, sporting director? I think he's sporting director at Norwich, which makes sense. Yeah. And do you remember there was some rumors about Carlos Cuesta moving to Norwich a little while ago?
I think it was Norwich. Yeah.
I think it was that a little while ago. Look, best of luck to Jack. He's joining the first team coaching staff, so he's basically taking a step up. Obviously, he doesn't see that pathway opening at Arsenal anytime soon, and that's absolutely fine. He needs to do what's best for his career. Obviously, it's sad for the U18s because that's an incredible, ex-player there, but there's lots of incredible ex-players who can come in and give their experiences, and different voices are sometimes good. Look, I just think this is inevitably going to happen, so it should never be like a sadness or like I think it's genuinely good for all parties. Jack has to move on at some point. Yeah. The players have to have different voices at some point. You need that, especially when you're a young player. You need different views, and to get the sense that one of the best things that one of the guys that I listened to, sort of this guy called Alain de Botton, he talks about the best thing you can kind of teach your children is that the world isn't built by sort of masters, or like, when you get to school, you're the size of a chair. Yeah. So if you have one bad teacher, you think that's everyone in the world. Yes. And I kind of take that philosophy. There's so many people, there's such a broad spectrum of opinions, and you might have Jack Wilshere, and you might be a kid in the U18s, and he might just not like you, And that's, by the way, Ben White on the interview earlier. Did you listen to the bit we was talking about Bielsa in the first training session?
Yeah,
And he got put in the U23s at Leeds by one person.
Yeah,
Ben White. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to have different opinions. I think it's really important to have fresh ideas every so often. And also, it's a sign for me of Arsenal developing and maturing as a team.
it's not the
If
first
people
one as
want
well.
our coaching staff, that's a good sign. It's amazing. We should celebrate it.
I can't remember the previous academy coach, but I believe he made his name obviously through the under-23s, and then he got his move to Crawley. I think it was Crawley Town, I believe.
Was it Kevin Betsy?
Kevin Betsy, that's it. I think it was Crawley that he went to. I don't know exactly how he's done there since, but this is a testament to what Arsenal are producing in terms of the talent and the coaching. And I just think this is just great news for Arsenal, because it's another example of a coach making his name here, an ex-player who has that drive, that determination to learn more about the game, which Jack Wilshere has mentioned many times in interviews as well. His passion for the game and to be to go into coaching, and this was before he went into the Arsenal academy. And I think just generally, this is the step up that every single coach should be making when they're initially, with the youth setup. I think it'd be very foolish for you to not take that opportunity when it comes, regardless of whether it's League 2, League 1, etc. Because it's ultimately the first major step of your coaching career. We give you the platform to be able to showcase your talent, and then you go and thrive elsewhere. And that's what it is. And there will always be the next guy to come in who will be able to deliver a similar sort of impact to Jack Wilshere. I mean, under Kevin Betsy, we were fantastic as well, by the way. And then Jack Wilshere's came in and he's done really well. There'll be another guy to come in, and this is really good news for Arsenal. And no, really happy for him. I actually didn't know about this news until you told me now. I didn't know.
Really?
No, didn't know.
That's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Idan says, bring in Santi Cazorla. I like that as a shout. It's nice, and it's going to happen with Carlos Costa. I think Miguel Molina is probably going to.
I love that guy, genuinely.
Going to move on. I know. Next week I'm not here, so it's the week that you and George are going to have your nerd out. About,
I don't know if we're allowed to do it, because it is it's a paid thing. So I don't know if that will.
Ooh.
I know the Thiago Motta thesis is accessible for anyone, and that's free. So
we'll do that for sure, and we maybe can do like sections of the Molina one. Everyone will be like, get rid of that, Alex.
By the way, it is Arsenal AFC's birthday today, so just giving a
Arsenal AFC happy birthday. Can we sing them? No, we know it's her. Happy birthday to her.
Just a happy birthday. That's it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Arsenal AFC. Happy birthday to someone that Rohan has no idea who they are. Hey. People think it's your mum. Is it your mum?
Could be. She actually does watch at times, And I've been telling her not to watch.
What's your mum's name?
Varsha.
Hi, Varsha. We love your son. You've raised him right, Varsha. Good job. Yes, I think it's really good news. It's exciting. Should we get out some awards?
Right, can I actually get this off my chest first, because it's actually really annoyed me.
Oh, yeah,
and I don't really get annoyed by stuff I tweet out and responses. I don't care if people don't like it or not. But right, so I literally tweeted out yesterday. It was just on my mind. Like, I tend to like, when the international break comes, just to kind of reflect on the season and go through who I feel have been our best performers, right? My opinion on who our best performers is. That's right, my opinion. And I've said our top 4 performers were, for me so far this season, in order, Saka, Raya, Havertz, and Saliba. And the comments were like, "Oh, this is so disrespectful to Gabriel. If you don't have Gabriel on this list, it's criminal." It's like, mate, there are only 4 spots, and by the way, he was 5th. And I did say that there's a good debate between Saliba or Gabriel, where I want to talk about this because you think it's Gabriel, and most people think it's Gabriel as well. The reason why I've gone for Saliba is because I think Saliba has performed more consistently so far this season, but Gabriel has had the bigger moments, the match-winning moments, the match-defining moments, which that's a fair argument. But to then say it's criminal to not have him in the list because I put Saliba in is also disrespecting Saliba for me. I don't think people.
So what I'm hearing is.
So what I'm hearing is I hate Gabriel apparently, and
you want Gabriel sold for a packet of crisps. I think that's what I'm hearing.
350 replies. There were 350 replies. I didn't go through.
Okay.
Honestly, that really annoyed me. Really annoyed me.
I also get in this. I'm going to say something that sounds like I'm better than this. I'm not. I do this all the time. I get annoyed about this sort of stuff. But this is what you need to tell me next time I'm annoyed. And this is what I'm going to tell you now. This is the first time in human history that thousands of people can give their opinion on someone to someone that they don't have to watch receive that information. In the past, if in the schoolyard, if I disagreed with you, I'd have to say it to you and watch you hear it. And if I say it in a horrible way, then I'm going to get punched.
Yes.
It's the first time in human history that's not been the case.
Yeah, exactly.
So like basically, that's what's happening. And I think honestly, you just see an icon, don't you? See a view. You don't necessarily take in that it's a person. You project your annoyance about the whole situation onto one person, and then we all have these infighting and stuff. And by the way, I'm absolutely a victim of this as well. I'm saying this like I'm not also getting annoyed about random stuff all the time.
I genuinely don't get annoyed by this sort of stuff. But people say
you don't actually.
But people saying like disrespecting Gabriel. I'm not disrespecting him at all. Saliba, I don't think people are realizing the level that he's hit this season as well, by the way, in terms of his consistency. And, well, he's been consistent regardless. But one thing that I've seen from Saliba do this season better than previous season is that when we have been under pressure and build-up and we're looking to try and play through the lines, it's always been Saliba who's been the guy who's looked to make that first initial pass. Look at the Man City move with the Calafiori one, right? Calafiori gets a lot of the praise for it, and rightly so. You know, that build-up in which, City come on to us, and then it's Saliba's shoulder drop first to evade the pressure from Haaland. Yeah. Bernardo Silva, and then he unlocks Calafiori. And by the way, Calafiori does superbly to kind of be able to move away from the shadow of Bernardo Silva to receive the ball. But Saliba's been doing this every single game, barring a moment against Wolves. I don't know if you remember in the second half where he gave the ball away in a really poor area, which, by the way, Gabriel also had some moments against Wolves in the second half, which Wolves had a couple of moments through carelessness from us on the ball. And the Cameron Archer goal, which for me, I agree, he should have done better to put it for. He's been ridiculous. And I'm not saying Gabriel hasn't been either, but I feel like Gabriel's start to the season, he started slow and then he built up to speed, I'd say, from Spurs onwards, personally. And the moments that Gabriel has produced, you could argue that without those moments, that Arsenal wouldn't be in the position that they're in right now. But then I could argue that Saliba's consistency and his levels from the get-go have also. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you shouldn't have Gabriel on the list. I'm just saying it's not criminal to not have him in my top 4. He's 5th, okay? He's 5th.
You're right.
250 replies.
It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy coming at you. It's a lot of energy. Look, I think it's subjective. It's a subjective opinion. There's no performances are very hard to quantify, and you can do sofa score points all you want, but it doesn't really matter, does it? I just think, for me personally, I think Gabriel has firstly gone up a level. So that's another thing. Like the move up, I think he's gone up a level, and that's probably taken a lot of people by surprise. So he was kind of always been at this level, so it's kind of, we're more used to it. It's like the thing with Saka, isn't it? He just gets underrated a little bit. I think so he has to do something incredibly special. I think for me, because of the big moments of Gabriel, I think because of the influence he's had more going forward than I expected him to have. I think with Saliba, the Cameron Archer moment, there's been a couple of moments where he's just coasted through games. That's kind of Saliba. And I just think Gabriel has been more imposing on a game, but equally you could argue that's their styles. So, whatever. I think your opinion's really valid. I just think you're wrong and should get off the podcast. That's just my opinion.
I just find it frustrating where, I'm not saying you are, but, we're looking at like Cameron Archer and Saliba. That's the reason why Saliba's not been better than Gabriel. But Gabriel didn't cover himself in glory for Brighton's goal against Minter. So we can look at different isolated moments. For me personally, I'm just looking at my metric is just the consistency from the start to where we are now. If you want to define it by the big moments, that's completely fine, because you could argue that without those moments against Spurs, against Man City, we wouldn't be where we are, and that's fine. But it's not criminal. Relax. One guy literally, to not have him on this list is criminal. And I replied with relax. And I felt so good by that. I got absolutely ratioed. But you know what? I don't care, because it actually felt so good. Because I was like, yeah, just relax.
But this is the game you're in now, man. You're in
the
the
game.
I
don't mind it. I generally don't mind it. This is not the first time. In the Thomas Partey, whenever I praise him, I seem to have the Thomas Partey Defence League always on my case when I put a little bit of criticism. I don't care. But this really annoyed me.
Look, bro, this is the thing. And like, as I said, you know, I'm no good at this. And I'll be honest, like, you know, the day when me and George had that debate, like, it was a lot to take in, because I do read the comments, you know, of course. So like all like 85, 90% of people disagreeing with you, probably more. You know, I still stand by what I said, but it's hard to in the face of like so much energy, and it may seem small, but it is. We're tribal creatures who need to know about the next 150 people, and when there's 10,000 people going no, like it builds up. It does. So, no, I get it. It's frustrating, but I think on the football thing, I don't think there's a correct answer necessarily, other than your one, which is wrong. Just to say.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
Are you hearing any squeaking, by the way? Are you hearing any squeaking?
No, your voice sounds great.
See, my laptop is like it's blowing up. So it's actually the chair. It is the chair.
I was doing a joke about like that you squeak. Like, oh.
I'm so happy I didn't laugh at that, because you didn't deserve it.
Yeah, I didn't deserve a laugh. You're right. it was a bullying moment.
No, it wasn't that. It's not your best one. I'll laugh when it's this one.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Do you remember when you said my Gary Neville was just horrible? You hated it.
Yeah, but I have said that your which one was it? Your Pep Guardiola one's sick. Your Roy Keane one's amazing. No, you are really good. You do cook. Trust me, you do. You do. Cook.
I'm a cook. Oh, cook.
That wasn't
right. We're gonna do goal. That wasn't good either. Goal of the season.
Yeah.
Moment of the season. Aura of the season, and it can't be Calafiori. Can I swear on this podcast, George? Can I swear?
We get demonetized.
Dad.
Dad.
Player of the season, young player of the season, and then I want 3 ideas from the chat.
Young player of the season?
I think that takes us to maybe young. 4 ideas from the chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 1, 2, 5, 6. 4 ideas from the chat. George says no, I can't swear. Bad person of the season.
Bad person of the season.
Baddie of the, maybe enemy of the season, or baddie of the season.
In their baddie era, yeah.
Yeah. I need 4 ideas from the chat.
Cool.
So yeah, we've got goal of the season, moment of the season, aura of the season, baddie of the season, player of the season, young player of the season.
I feel like young player of the season might be hard though, because
under 21.
Oh, okay.
Under 21. Cool. We'll start with someone says screenshot of the season.
Screenshot.
Duel of the season.
Screenshotting of pressing structures.
Surprise of the season. I like that. That's one. That was from SSXX5. That can be one.
I really like these. I like these.
Quote of the season. That's quite good.
Yeah.
I think and we can kind of, we can branch this out. It doesn't have to necessarily be Arsenal. Yeah. Quote of the season. That was from Nindo.
Red card of the season.
Media narrative of the season.
Narrative of the season. Disappointment of the season's good.
Worst. Sorry, I just remembered.
Oh,
Alex, you statistically can't multitask. Did you know statistically you can't multitask?
I can't believe that came out of my mouth. I genuinely can't believe.
Most woke nonsense of the season. Big fan of that. And let's do worst podcast performance of the season. Worst Cannon podcast performance of the season. Okay. You know, SDS have ratings. They have someone who does like SofaScore ratings for their podcast. I want that for the Cannon. Can someone do
good.
Can someone do that for the Cannon? If you're like an avid Cannon member, or whatever, I would love a Canon ratings. Because then we can improve. Then we can track data over time. We can get our new data guy to track the
Then we can look at our season
ratings.
average. If we're like standard 6s or certain
I
games
think
are at 8s.
my debate performance is a shoe-in for that. Most woke nonsense of the season. Who was that? Someone said that. It was really funny.
The most woke. Not gonna lie.
Oh, Milo Haynes.
I'm using the word woke way too much these days as well.
Yeah, I don't mean it either.
Everything I see, that's just like, that's woke.
Naz says these two are adorable. Thanks, Naz.
Aww.
Right, goal of the season, Calafiori.
But we've got moment of the season as well, don't we?
Yeah, but I'm goal of the season, Calafiori.
See, no, not for me. So this is my personal opinion, right? That's my personal opinion, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
For me,
I know.
it is Gabriel's versus Spurs. That for me is my goal of the season, and I'll tell you why. Because I always go back to it when Sam Allardyce said it. He says all these tactics, all these coaches looking to implement new ideas and everything's like. But let me tell you, and he said this. Let me tell you, there is nothing better than a whip ball into the mixer and a big guy just there meeting it and top bins or just crashing into the net. And I agree with him because the Calafiori, I'm already kind of like jumping ahead, but the Calafiori one I have as my moment of the season. But that Gabriel goal is my goal of the season because obviously in the moment, the magnitude of the game, which was a very difficult game by the way, against circumstances. I just think that goal, my God, just like the adrenaline. Because I don't know about you, Alex, I literally like stood up when the corner because I felt like, this is a goal that's coming here, and then bang, goal of the season for me. Can I have Sam Allardyce? I don't want Neil Warnock. I don't want Neil Warnock on my side.
Wait, how do I show it? I want to show the whole thing. No. I want to show the whole thing.
Thing is,
just took us out. I don't know what I'm doing. You love it's no tippy tappy football for you. You love that.
For me, people will talk about the tactics. I love it, but I can't lie. My traditional roots of what I've watched,
the tactics,
what I've watched during my early days. I tell you what, it still hits like nothing else. Those types of goals, they just slap. Genuinely, they slap. It's like that's football, isn't it? That's like football. Cross, bang, in goal. Have that, Spurs.
Chat, what are we thinking? Moment of the season. It could. I think I'll go Gabriel.
Okay.
Goal for me was Calafiori, and I think Gabriel, because there is that like oosh aspect to it. You know what I mean?
Calafiori for me.
Oh, so we're just flipping.
Yeah, because I just feel like moment of the that is our moment of the season because obviously. In that situation against, and by the way, City started really well in that game. I've watched it a couple of times. They started really well, and they hit the post as well with the free kick. And it was a difficult moment for us. And in that specific situation, that action, it changed the game. It changed the game. And that's why it's our moment of the season.
People saying Raya save
against Villa.
Porto and Villa.
Yeah,
that could be up there. I always just think a save though. Not to devalue it, but it's a save. Do you know what I mean?
For me, it's about understanding the opposition and Man City, the team that we're competing against.
Yeah,
I just can't not. For me, it has to be Calafiori for me.
Do you know what? Wait, next one is aura of the season.
Okay,
and it can't be Calafiori. And I might give it to Saka taking the captaincy. I think he went up a couple aura points. The aura points I dropped from losing my beard went straight to Saka.
Should we make this interesting? We've got to have different ones.
Let's not make this interesting. I think the aim of a podcast should always be make it as uninteresting as you possibly can.
Interesting as possible. I'm going to go with a different one every time you go. So I'm going to go for Ethan Nwaneri against Spurs, and that's sub. Because, like I said, in that situation, when we're in a game state in which we're not able to control the game with the ball. We know what Arteta tends to do with that traditional back five that is filled with defenders, out and out defenders. And we didn't do that when Saka came off. It was Ethan Wannieri, and I think and he had a really good cameo as well. So
do you know what? You've actually reminded me. I'm going to change my order of the season. It's going to be a split award between Saka and Miles Lewis-Skelly's telling Raya to go down and get a yellow card.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Actually, I think that's is the order of the season.
No, that's way better. That's way better.
Or is it Lewis Skelly telling the players what to do against Spurs? That might be up there. I love that so much.
I don't even remember that bit. I don't remember that.
It's so there's a bit. It cuts to him on the TV. It's like it was. Were you at the game? No, it was.
No,
it was away. No, so no.
What about the Ethan Wannieri against Leicester as well? The cameo that's also up there.
It's Wannieri. So calling him Wannieri.
Wannieri.
Player of the season, Saka.
Yeah,
Saka. It's Saka. Anyone in the chat disagree? It's got to be Saka. Like I'm not having the yeah, but we expect it. No,
no, because then that's taking it for granted as well. That's us taking the level for granted.
Yeah. Also, aura of the season. Ben White booting the ball at
yes,
John McGinn.
Yes, that's a good one.
Oh. That's up there. That is genuinely up there. George, don't take our debates out of context. Don't do this. Firstly, we had that in like January, February last year. Secondly, we were debating semantics. And I
was in the world class category.
What you felt was world class. Don't do this.
George, I've always said he's world class. This is your fight. This is not my
fight.
Right,
moving on. Young player of the season, U21.
I'd go for Ethan.
Yeah, I think Ethan. Like I was.
He's had more opportunities, hasn't he? He's had more opportunities.
Yeah, I was at the Bolton game, and the crowd love him.
Yes,
like every time he touches the ball, you can see the energy in the stadium. Yeah,
it's also and also like in the Leicester game. Honestly, like the atmosphere was really good because obviously with it being 2-2 at Desmond and we need a goal, it's always going to be pretty electric because we're trying to suck that ball in. The Leicester game, when Ethan Wannieri came on.
2-2 at Desmond.
Desmond 2-2, isn't it? That's the saying.
What did you say? No, I guess
no, so I said it's 2-2 and I said Desmond, which is the same thing, isn't it?
Desmond 2. Yeah, but you said it so casually that I was like, "What? I don't know." Okay, right, yeah.
Sorry, that's not a bad Rohan moment there. That's all right.
My bad.
No, but what I'm saying is, in that moment in which it's already electric, but when Ethan Wannieri came on, have I said it right? Ethan Wannieri, yeah.
No.
When he came on, the levels just went way above, and that first action as well to receive it and then drive and take the shot on makes it fun.
There's no in it.
I wonder if Miles Lewis-Skelly, I literally spat all over.
It's a losing battle with you and George, isn't it? It's a losing battle.
I wonder if Miles Lewis-Skelly had equal amount of opportunities at this stage. Who would be ahead? That because at the moment Miles has only had the Bolton game really. So
yeah, and I honestly think, especially when Odegaard comes back, I think we might see more of Miles.
Yes.
Phew. Surprise of the season from SSX5. Calafiori's right foot. Because, I've been impressed by things. I mean, surprised. Like, oh my God, I did not see that coming. Calafiori's right foot.
Now, I don't like to... Basically, when I watched Calafiori, I made like a fact file on Twitter and I posted it. And one of the things was his ability on his weaker foot and his ability to kind of access both sides. So that for me wasn't that honestly wasn't a big surprise for me. The big surprise for me, I'd say, and I know he had a really good preseason as well, but to continue that into the season, I'd say Jurriën Timber's response to his ACL injury. And I think when I look at his performances, yes, I think early on when he was playing at left back, I didn't think that he was offering us what we needed in possession, being a right footer and having, we're cramming that side with right footers. But in terms of out of possession, the list is endless in terms of that 1v1 capability against Doku, against Johnson, Bailey, Minter, Barcola. Barcola. I think I'm missing someone as well, actually. But yeah, he's been fantastic, and that's probably
People saying Thomas Partey. I don't mind that as a shout.
That's a good
actually.
shout. That's a good shout because he's really picked it up. Because I thought he was fantastic against Man City. I genuinely thought he was fantastic against Man City. I thought he was excellent against PSG as well. Yeah.
I don't think anything else has surprised me. Like surprised, I've been impressed, but not surprised.
I think people.
I think Timber. I don't know if I'm surprised that he's come back from his ACL really well. I didn't expect it, but that's not surprise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but maybe maybe one could be David Raya, and not for me personally, but David Raya's ability shot stopping wise, because obviously last season I felt he became a victim of Arsenal. He became a victim of Arsenal being so sound defensively that he contributed to, but because he wasn't active in terms of shot stopping, because we weren't facing shots on goal, this season's been maybe that's a surprise to people. I think for me, Timber, I am surprised with how quickly he's been able to get into the level that he's showing right now already. So,
yeah, I did just say it didn't surprise me. I just wasn't expecting it, which is the definition of a surprise, isn't it? But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Quote of the season. This is from Nindo.
Okay. No, you go first. We're cooking with this. You going first because I like to
with the context.
Okay, that was my one. I don't know what other quotes I can go with now.
But always the context.
You see how passive aggressive he was there as well. He was saying
that was in the middle of the storm around. Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to think now.
Hang on, I'm being held accountable for something. Alex, you said in preseason pod you didn't expect Timber to be fully right until next year. Just say, yeah.
Look, Alex, he's got his eye on you. He's got his eye.
He's done me. He's done me.
Yeah,
I didn't. And like, but I'm not surprising. Is like, it wasn't even in my thoughts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was. I was thinking about this. You know.
I hear you. You're cooking. I don't know actually. I'll go with that one.
I don't know what I'm cooking, but I'm cooking something.
Yeah, I'll probably go for
could be beans on toast. Could be ratatouille. Who knows?
Actually, no, I've got mine. It was post Spurs when Arteta. Actually, is that the same quote? The context one was that after Spurs.
Vlad's cooking.
Yeah,
Vlad's cooking. I have been there before.
Oh yeah, that's the best. That's the best.
I have all the information, so I know. Believe me. Yeah.
My one was going to be Arteta's his post-match presser after Spurs, where he spoke about how we had to play a different game in order for us to achieve the desired result, because obviously we didn't look to play through pressure in that game, especially after the first few moments in the first half, where we gave the ball away really cheaply. So then we started to go a lot more long. We didn't press high consistently. And we adapted, we were able to win in any given context, or in a context that we don't necessarily want to do, but we had to do because we're adaptable. We're a chameleon, Alex, and that is mine.
A resilient team, aren't we?
Yes.
Navaz says, I desperately want Alex to start posting shorts of manager impressions.
Yeah,
if I could break free from George's shackles, I'd be allowed. No, George, it's fine. Why don't we do it? Should we do it? I'll start posting shorts on the
do
pod.
Do it.
Next one. Most woke nonsense of the season from Milo Haynes.
Such a hard one.
Most woke nonsense.
I don't know. Genuinely don't know.
People saying delaying the restart. That was pretty woke. Maybe the delay in the restart situation. That was pretty woke.
Yeah.
Howard Webb
is just an idiot.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, when Havertz went into midfield, that was woke.
No, it's not. Oh, what, this season? Not this season.
Yeah. No, but he didn't he play in the midfield? I swear he did this season.
Yeah, he has. In Odegaard's role. Odegaard. Yeah, he has.
No, not even Odegaard's role, because that's when he's playing number 9 but dropping in there.
Yeah.
I swear he played behind Jesus at one point. Am I making that up?
Not in the
league.
He played
midfield.
No, he hasn't. I can tell you the lineups in every single game this season, trust me.
Yeah, you can tell me what I have for breakfast on the 1st of June 2004, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Against
I swear.
No, you're right. You are right against Atalanta. But then again, we're going back to the Erdegaard type vibe. But then we're going back to the Erdegaard type hybrid role, in which when we funnel play towards the right.
But he started in midfield on that at Atalanta. My point is, like, Jesus was ahead of him. When he's playing number 9, he's dropping in to be to play to get some of those roles.
We're getting very technical now, aren't we? We're getting very technical.
Yeah.
We're getting very technical. Because you could argue Southampton then as well, but then I could argue Leicester and
Kivior RCB is pretty woke, to be fair.
Yeah, that's pretty woke. Should have been starting.
Alex, I didn't say that.
God, cook him, Alex.
I'm attacked. I feel attacked. Final one. Worst Cannon podcast performance of the season.
Definitely me last week.
No, I don't think so.
No, I
don't think it was that bad.
Chat, what do you think? I think it was me.
It might be. There was a day because the thing is, I have therapy on Thursdays. So if I've had a bad session, sometimes I come into it, and this always cheers me up. But there was one that I was just not in the mood. Do you remember that one?
But I feel like we did. I thought you felt a little bit
still
better.
Fine. Yeah, no, it was fine. The thing is, okay, I got cooked, so it could be the debate, but I still agree with what I said. So I don't think I performed badly. People just disagreed with me.
You went against the grain, So that's what it is.
Rohan, people saying your solo stream was the best performance. I want this Cannon Pod Sofa Score thing. Can someone set it up?
I actually really want this as well. I do really want it. Yeah, that'd be good.
Alex, can you call Rohan Brohan? How about when George called me Nonce Penny?
I can't believe he started it like that. I thought, wow. I thought, yes. We're right in.
Rin saying there wasn't enough dating and personal life chit chat on last week's stream. How about we do that then?
Yeah,
how about we do that?
Yeah, we can do.
What's going on? Nothing. Genuinely nothing. I have apps. My DMs are dry. There is nothing going on. Like I've never been more single in my life.
It's common.
Any thoughts? Got any advice for me, Rohan or Brohan?
You don't need to do anything. You are Mr. TDK. You are
Mr. TDK. It doesn't hold much. It doesn't hold much weight in the.
Wait, just let it.
It doesn't hold much weight in the dating world. I'm like, do you know what? Also, it's funny because like, it just doesn't translate to people. Also, because obviously my other stuff is theatre, and I meet. The thing is, most of this is virtual. So if I'm hanging out with people, it's normally theatre people. And they're like, "Oh, how's that football thing you're doing?" they're like, "Oh, what's that thing? What you do like a podcast?" Don't you? Oh, cool. Like, yeah.
Remember that guy? Remember that time you told me about that guy? When you went on the tube and he was literally watching one of your videos.
Yeah.
That's quite crazy, that isn't it? When you just, I wonder what his reaction was. I wonder what his reaction was. Genuinely cool. Just like
that was genuinely cool. Yeah. What? So we one day I think I'll share my Hinge. And we should go through. Yeah. Do you want to see my profile?
There's like Hinge, there's Bumble, there's all sorts.
Do you want to see my profile? Okay, here we go. We can roast my profile together.
Oh, yes. Like this.
Right. I don't know if you can. How will I get this? I might. I don't know how to do it. Tell you what I'll do. I'll screen record it now. No, you can't. Yeah. It's just an app. I'll screen record it, and then I'll go through it.
This is very open of you to share your profile.
Oh, I don't care enough. I want it to be improved.
Okay. Oh, okay. This is good. This is good.
Here we go.
I'm telling you now, you are a 10 out of 10 sort.
Thanks, Rohan. But if that feels a little bit like when girls are like, "She's amazing. She's my best friend," and you meet them, and you're like, "Oh no."
I'm telling you these facts.
Right, here we go. Chat, I need you to roast my Hinge profile. I want to know how I can improve. Okay. Here we go. Right. So, first thing, that's the main picture. I think I look handsome. I think the teeth look good. I think the beard's in. That's my friend's wife, just to be clear.
Yeah.
And I think it's like he's with a girl. Do you know what I mean? There's like a he you know.
But don't you think, right? With
He's all,
aren't you meant
let,
to
let,
like?
let me
Yeah,
take you through the profile because
go on,
it's
go on, yeah,
it's
go
a
for it.
whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. I want to
Then the
see I
first
want to see the jokes here, like the
first
little captions.
prompt
Yeah.
is a little bit of self-deprecating humor. Justice for the 5'11 Kings out there, just missed out. Got height on my mind. I'm saying 27. I am a man, just to put that to bed.
Yeah.
5'11, classic. And then I said football content. I think that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my
Sure.
friend.
Yeah.
I won't tell you their names. Just
I've
protect
seen
them.
these.
Me and Carragher. I think that's a bit of a flex.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going.
Then little joke about therapy, which says I am in therapy, but I don't take it too seriously because I'm a modern man, but I don't take myself too seriously, right?
Okay. Okay.
Me and a
Yep.
cat, and I will say
Yeah,
this
cats.
picture is the most popular one
They
by
they
a mile.
always say when you have a picture with an animal, it does give you a brownie point. So
By a mile,
yeah,
right?
so yeah.
I think
But
I think I've got too many jokes on there. I think this because none of them are serious.
I think you need to. I think you need to post more of just yourself. To be honest.
Yeah, I think so. There's one at the end.
Because yeah.
I don't know why I put that about Charlie X6. I can't remember that. And that's me at the Emirates shouting "Vamos."
I think you need more on your own, Alex. Genuinely.
Do you think so? Chat.
Because
What's chat saying? I haven't. Right, here we go.
because you know you like a lot of them. They're really nice, but they're not. There's not enough focus on you. Because
People saying don't start with a woman.
No, yeah. I also.
Why though? Because I think that's a green
No,
flag.
but I think because it's not you. The idea of your profile is the focus should be on you, and I don't think there's going to be as much focus on you when you've got other people in your pictures. Like the cat one is perfect. Although I think, have you not got one that has your hair in it? It's like cropped just to your forehead.
Oh, probably yeah. I could put my hair in it.
Yeah, I think definitely put that one. Because...
People. Okay, so everyone's saying maybe. Yeah, people are saying first photo. I shouldn't do it. I thought so. This is me being totally honest. No, fair.
Yeah.
I also don't really love pictures of me, but yeah, fair enough. I don't have many like just pictures of me because I don't have any contexts where I'm just like, why would I take just a picture of me? Like, there's no reason to do that. But yeah, I thought people are saying it's good, but not for the first picture, and I take that. I think it's a good picture.
Yeah,
but.
No, they're all good pictures, but I don't think they are. You're not maximizing yourself here. I don't think you're maximizing yourself because it doesn't matter who is next to you. I don't think there's never going to be as much focus when you're with someone as opposed to just being on yourself. Because when you're just on yourself, it's just the focus is completely on you, and that's why your picture of your cat is also your most liked one. Not just because of the cat, but also because it's just yourself there as well. So,
right. I will take most people's advice. I'm not going to take this advice. People saying
the girls love, obviously, the girls. There's nothing wrong, but it's just the fact that this is your profile. That should not be your first picture. It's your profile.
Why is George asking me to? George says is showing me. George, why do I have to show this? George is asking me to show a picture of him.
Okay. Yes.
To be fair, he looks buff.
I think I know which one this might be, actually.
Wait, hang on. Here we go. This is George.
Yeah, I know.
See, personally, just my taste.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that on my dating profile, even though he looks really good.
Because there's not enough focus on his face. That's why, for me.
Not even for that reason.
No.
For me, it doesn't make. George is very approachable and friendly, and that doesn't look like George. The thing I will say about my profile, no, get off. This is my WhatsApp shit. I will say, people, I think it does reflect me.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It is like me, but I'll take the advice.
I think you need. I actually think your jokes slap. I think your captions actually slap. They're good.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, I don't want it to be too serious.
Yeah,
but I agree. Maybe I need one more of me. I think I agree on that. Just of me.
I think there's one picture of my all right. I don't like a lot of my pictures, but I think I was cooking with my Malaga Spain Instagram picture. I
Yeah,
think I was cooking there. Yeah.
yeah,
I think
yeah. You do look pretty good. You look pretty good. Forder says worst thing you can be is yourself on a date, and this is the thing, right? People will be like, do this, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to appeal to everyone. If I wanted to appeal to everyone, I know exactly the profile I'd put. I'm genuinely trying to be myself, right?
For God's sake, I've just read the
Anyway, we're moving on. But the word, I'm trying to genuinely just be myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and this is I'm not trying to appeal to everyone, but but this is the thing. So people are saying, too many jokes, put more jokes. But I'm not trying to appeal to I'll be me, which is funny. Do you know what I mean?
For me, that's all fine. That's all fine.
Yeah.
I just feel like there needs to be more. I also think the George's picture. I don't think that would. I think it's a nice picture to have there, but I think your first picture should just have a lot of focus on your face. Personally.
Yeah, I get that. I think you're right about that.
Because for me, that's the first thing that people look at. So
yeah, people are saying, "I'll have your friends." I was like, "Bro, I'll be in with your friends." But again, that's against what Rohan's saying.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with having like one, but I think you've got one with Jamie Carragher, one with that.
I need one of just me, which I don't have. I see that.
Am I cooking with this advice, chat? Am I cooking?
No, I think you're right. I'd need one of just me, and I'll probably take out. I don't know why I put that Charlie XCX thing. I think I was drunk. I'll just remove that and then move it around a bit. I don't think it needs too much shifting around.
Yeah. No, I think
I agree.
Listen, you're slowly marinating. You just need that picture of just yourself, the facial structure, the bone structure, the jawline, the stubble, the hair, the fade. You're cooking.
Yeah. Cooking. I need to take a selfie. I don't think I've ever taken a selfie. Genuinely.
I wonder what the success rate is with selfies, though.
That's a lie. I've definitely taken a selfie. You know, I've took a serious actual selfie.
Oh yeah, I do love a good selfie. You know, I love a good selfie.
Yeah. I know. I can't believe people actually care about this. How many people are
listening? How many people are listening?
It's gone up, our viewers, in this time.
Because I've not logged on into my separate laptop. I don't know how many people actually tuned in. So,
yeah.
Now we're cooking. Good.
Ilya says he wrote a book on dating apps. Alex, I promise you more genuine comments. But this is the thing. I'm not. If I wanted to game the system, you can look up like Hinge algorithm. I'm not trying to make the best Hinge bro. I'm trying to meet someone who suits me. Do you know what I mean? So I get it. If I was looking for more number, with all due respect, I'm okay for numbers. Just not to brag. I'm just it's okay. I'm fine. But in terms of genuine connections, that's what I'm looking for. Is what I'm saying.
You got this, mate. You got this.
Thanks, man.
Next thing, we're going your first date straight to mini golf. Mini
golf. Live stream the first date on CannonPod Live.
I feel like you need some pictures on holiday with the scene really good in the background. I feel like you could cook with a bit of good scenery.
Yeah, no, I see that. I don't have any. I never take pictures of myself, so it's difficult. I can't think of a picture. I'll find one, or I'll just get one. I'll just get someone to take one on me.
Are you going on holiday anytime soon?
Go to Malta with. I'll go to Malta with my mum.
Yeah, get some pictures.
That's a good shout. I'll go. Yeah, I'll go then. That's a good shout,
mate.
It's just funny, isn't it? Because you're like, why would I take? I would never take pictures of myself for no reason. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Elton's just killing me.
I don't even even on holiday. The picture of you and I'm not slagging off. I would never think, oh, can someone get a picture of me? I don't think I've ever done that in my life.
Yeah, so for me, I'm like, if I'm on holiday, I'm like, okay, I've got to get all the angles, just rinse out the pictures because I know I can delete the pictures. Just rinse it out, and then I feel like I've been productive in my day. For me, during the daytime, it's all about maximizing the area and just pictures, try the food, see the sights, everything, and then I won't go into the other stuff. But yeah.
The other stuff. The other stuff. Okay. George has sent me an example. Although George, this is from about 15 years ago.
Can you share my Malaga picture? I want the chat to know.
Why are you flexing?
Oh, no, I want honest feedback. I want honest feedback.
I'm not sharing my WhatsApp again.
I want honest feedback of it.
George has asked me to share this, but George, you must be.
George is
What?
pretty hench there as well, isn't he? Oh, that's a good picture.
16. That's a good picture, by the way. But that's old. I wouldn't put that because that's so long ago. It's a catfish.
I think I want the chat to rate mine.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. We're going to talk about football again.
Okay, we're going to talk about the Bournemouth game because that's obviously
right. Hang on.
Yeah, we have got a game this weekend.
Where's your manager?
Oh, it's on
where's your
Instagram.
Malaga picture?
Make sure you just zoom into.
Is it not on? Is it not on? It's on Instagram. It's on Instagram. Oh no, hang on. Is it the one of you? Oh no, I've got the one of you in Portugal. Hang on. Here it is. I've got it.
The one, the one with the little, Just get the picture, none on the comments. It's the picture.
This one.
Yes. I feel like all right, please rate. I think that's not a bad picture.
So I think that's a good picture. I don't have any of those pictures. This is my point. So I need to get them.
You need to get the tree, the leaves in at the top left.
Yeah.
Leaves.
No, I hear that. I hear that.
Yeah.
Why are you fishing for compliments though on the chat?
No, I wanted honest feedback. I want because I'm going to India in December. I'll be getting some more pictures. So
Are you looking for love, Rohan?
Yeah.
No comment. I will say, in terms of the outfit, I like it. I think the shoes don't quite match.
Okay.
But fair enough if you disagree. I think the shoes are tennis game.
Yeah.
The top and shorts are going out. Do you know what I mean? It's I've got tennis at 2 p.m.
I really do love those trainers though.
I've got a salsa class at 3. Do you know what I mean?
But I really do love those trainers. Oh
no, they're good. They're nice trainers. I just think they're not necessarily coming together.
I hear it.
But Rohan, do what you're comfortable with.
Yes.
Do what you're comfortable with. That's the most important thing here.
That's exactly what I feel like. My calves are looking extremely weak there. To be fair, they're looking very, very twiggy. But I feel like I was cooking slowly.
Your head looks quite small in relation to your body.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
You said that was like what? You took that like as a compliment. Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I don't know actually. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, but that means
just in that picture. I don't think you are in other pictures, but in that picture, it looks a little bit like. Do you want me to slag you off a bit more, or?
This is what it's about. Okay,
let's get back to it. There you go. There was some dating. I'll tell you what. I'll update my Hinge profile, and I'll come back to you all next week with an updated profile, and you can see it.
Yes.
I'm not looking for 100% agreement because I'm never going to get 100% agreement, but I do agree with the advice about one picture of me as the main one. I need to move that picture. I just didn't think about it. But yeah.
And I also think the cat one you like cropped out to your forehead. Bring it down a bit.
I think it is there, but I'll move it. I see what you mean. Right. That is 20 minutes, I think, of waffle. So listen.
We love it though. We love it. There was a super chat.
Oh, was there?
There was a super chat.
Oh, Cesar, thank you so much. Opposition player versus AFC. Oh, the best player versus Arsenal of the season. That's a good question.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Dibbling.
Dibbling's a shout.
I think Semenyo's gonna cook.
No,
I like Semenyo. He was one of my shouts at the beginning of the season.
I thought Buonanotte played very well against us in the moments, but
can't remember him.
He scored the. He scored
Morgan Rogers.
Morgan Rogers.
Yeah, I think Morgan Rogers.
Good one.
Yeah, Morgan Rogers. People say in the chat.
Good spot there, Alex. Oh, you hear that?
Yeah.
Morgan Rogers.
Savinho
was good as well, but I felt Calafiori. There were a couple of obviously with the goal, he does him because he doesn't judge the situation correctly. But I felt Savinho in the second half really faded. But I thought Morgan Rogers was cooking from the get-go in that entire game.
Yeah.
He had rice and party in a blender, didn't he?
In a blender. I can't believe I showed my WhatsApp earlier. That's so funny. There's nothing incriminating on there. It's just I showed my entire.
Yeah.
I could have been slagging you all off. The Leicester keeper as well.
Actually, yeah, the Leicester keeper's a great shout, but
Leicester keeper.
Yeah, Leicester keeper's
Okay,
great.
two more things I want to talk before we finish, and we'll do some comments and stuff as always.
Yep.
I want to talk Ben White. So there was a really good interview with him with Ben Foster, which I watched just before I went live with Forder earlier. Really good interview, very relaxed. I will say, like, sometimes I'm like, if you have half an hour with a footballer in a relaxed environment, how your questions are basically like, how do you switch off when you're not playing football? Like, ask interesting questions.
Yeah.
But I get it. So there's going to have to be some move that someone out of Calafiori, Timber, and Ben White is not going to play as much as they want this season. That is a fact. I think.
Yeah.
Is that person, and this is a question, I don't have the answer. I don't know. I'm asking this and genuinely, non-rhetorically asking this. Is that person going to have to be Ben White? Or do we see it as maybe Calafiori is going to have time in and out of the team? Is Timber going to be pushed forward? What do you see?
It's very hard to say, and I don't think anyone can be definite on this. I don't think anyone can. And that's the beauty of the position that we are in right now. Me and George spoke about it on the main pod in terms of Arsenal's best strength, I would say. And both me and George agreed on it, was that our back line and our fullback profiles, the variety that we have at our disposal, it's our biggest strength, as a collective. And we can pick different players for different game states to solve different problems. But as you alluded to, one of those guys is not going to play as much this season. And that could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. It could be a good thing in the sense of you're able to kind of maximize their peak level more because you're able to manage their minutes better. But also, it could also lead to friction potentially because they're not playing as much as last season. I don't know. But I think, for me, in terms of Ben White as the player, sometimes when, and Jurriën Timber has been fantastic, but sometimes when you are winning games of football and a player comes in who has played really well, naturally there is a bias towards that player and a favoritism towards that player. I'm not saying the Timber case, but I'm saying that naturally when a player is absent from the team for whatever reason and someone comes in and they're playing well, you tend to forget about the guy who's missing because of the level that you've been able to maintain. But what I really want to state is the fact that Ben White, he has been the most consistent right back in the Premier League for 2 successive seasons in a row. And bearing in mind, this is a guy who transitioned, in his first season at Arsenal from centre back to then playing the right back role, the variety of different tasks we give him to such a high level. I don't think we should forget that. And he's got a massive say this season because I do still believe, as good as Timber has been, when I'm talking about our right-hand side and our best combination and our best dynamic in terms of predominant zones and areas in which they arrive in, and where they're at their best, is when Ødegaard's able to drop deep and he has license to be able to dictate, get a lot of touches on the ball and orchestrate. So when Ben White is able to give Saka that run on the overlap and then Saka can come inside. I think that's still our best dynamic. And I think the relationship that Saka and Ben White have in terms of Arsenal being able to be at their best attacking wise, I think that is what it is. So for me, he is still my starting choice right back. But we don't know this. We don't know what Mikel Arteta is going to do. As much as we can bring a case for Ben White, we can bring a case for Jurriën Timber. It's difficult to answer. But what I will say, I've not watched all of the interview. I've got about 10 minutes left. He's such a humble guy, and he's so down to earth, and he's just like real, isn't he? He's just like a standard bloke who is very good at football.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it's like, because I have a dog. My brother walks the dog every day, but we've walked as a family at times as well with him. And you see people who walk their dog, and I can tell you now, the way that they are, and listening to Ben White in his interview, it's like the same because of how real they are and how just kind of like down to earth, and they just I don't know how to describe it. I just feel like he's just very honest. And there's no filter, and there's nothing to hide. He's
very normal. Yeah,
he's very normal because I think there's a lot of footballers, and you see how they are in interviews. They're kind of like, I think sometimes they put on a face, which doesn't show their true self. But I feel with Ben White, you can see what he is, and it was such a good interview. I need to listen to the rest of it, but
yeah.
Sorry, it was a
No,
bit of a waffle there, but
no. It was a lot there. It was good. I think it was good. Well done. I think he is normal, and that's nice. And I think it kind of he was saying at one point into he says, like, you know, football takes so much out of you. It's nice to kind of, the reason I'm not on social media, I don't do much, is because like you want to keep some stuff for yourself, and like just getting out in nature and going on a dog walk and keeping it all normal. Like it's really, it's nice to see. And this is the thing, is coming into football, I really like Ben White. I think I've said this before. He grew up really close to me. We were born in the same hospital. He reminds me of a load of guys that I like went to school with. Like he's very relatable to me. So I like fully, I think if I had to pick someone to go out with, to be friends with from the Arsenal like squad, it would probably be him, or maybe someone else, but probably Ben White. Yeah. So I don't want that to color my analysis of him, because I love him so much. He's like one of my favorite players. And I think you're right, though. I think if we were going Jurriën Timber versus Ben White for the right back slot, who gets in for the cup final against whichever team tomorrow, right? I think individually you could push me to go Jurriën Timber.
Yeah.
Because I think overall as a package, he's brilliant. But because of who White has in front of him with Saka and Odegaard, I think he matches that a lot better. In terms of what he does with Saka, he's going to need less touches to do a lot of what he does well, because of the resilience he brings to the team, because of what he does, especially on the press on that right-hand side, stepping up and getting into the back of players and doing that well. And also, football isn't just tactics. It's not just profiles. No. It's resilience and character and leadership and pushing through difficult periods and availability, and it's everything, right? Like, I think that's really important, and Ben White just ticks so many boxes there. So I think on the pure football profile, can Jurriën Timber probably do, as probably in terms of a radar, you know, those radars you see, like it's one of those, like maybe Timber's like probably slightly more well-rounded, but I just think the stuff that Ben does suit Odegaard and Saka a bit more.
For me, it's a case of when I'm looking at most of the teams that we face in the Premier League, who do I want at right back? It's Ben White. But I'd say in the high octane games in the Champions League, like we saw against PSG, against Bradley Barcola, I would want a Jurriën Timber. I've always maintained that, you know, in the Champions League games, a lot of it is down to at baseline those 1v1 duels spread across the entirety of the pitch, and we saw what Jurriën Timber was able to offer. And what I like about Ben White in his interview is he mentioned how he said he's not the quickest. He's not the best 1v1. He knows his limitations, and he recognizes it. And I also feel he does himself dirty in terms of how he speaks about himself at times in that interview. He's like, you're better than what you're saying here. You're way better than this. But this is what I'm
not
saying.
Really quick. I'm like, well,
yeah, mate,
you are though.
You are. He is deceptively very.
It's like centre back.
It's kind of like Havertz. Havertz is deceptively very quick. Ben White is deceptively very quick as well. But he says that he's not got all these things that perhaps other fullbacks has. But what he mentioned is that he has had an experience in the lower leagues. And by the way, I think he mentioned in that interview that he'd only begun to kind of grow into his body at 18. And that's where he kind of be able to deliver a little bit more of a stature and a presence. He mentioned how, you know, the experiences that he had in the lower leagues and that mentality of winning at all costs has what shaped him and why he is where he is right now. And by the way, this is a guy, and the Marco Bielsa of it, I've not finished it yet, but when he started talking about him, how he's the most intense manager that he's came across, 4-hour sessions per day. What that tells me about Ben White is, what that tells me is that Ben White mentioned that under Marco Bielsa, if you're not able to kind of process that information quickly, you're out the door. You know, you're not going to be able to get games. But this is a guy, you know, who played every single game for Leeds. And by the way, it wasn't the easiest start, because as you mentioned, you know, he was put in the under-23s to begin with, but he kind of stayed because he recognized that one of the players got a red card in the final game of the previous season, so he was going to get an opportunity. He didn't miss a minute of football playing under Marco Bielsa. And Marco Bielsa is one of the most innovative managers of this decade. Yeah. So a lot of managers look at Marco Bielsa, regardless of what you think about his methodologies. Ben White thrived under him. Ben White thrived under Graham Potter. Ben White has thrived under Mikel Arteta. He's been the most consistent right back in the league. And for me, I just think it is a case of the game state will define who should start. And for me, when I look at the games that we have, Ben White should be starting most games at right back because of the types of teams we play. But that doesn't mean Jurriën Timber doesn't have his say there.
Yeah, and the types of games and game states that we're facing and stuff. I think, I think there just might be a slight adaptation where Ben doesn't play certain games.
And
but
I'm
honestly,
fine
like
with
he kind of alluded to it in the
he did
in the interview. I don't know if you heard it, but there was a point where he said we just had to be available, and you couldn't sit down and like nurse off an injury. You just had to do it. And I think now he can.
Yeah,
I think
he said,
I
Alex,
kind of think that's what, he said. Well, he basically said it.
Yeah, what he said after that as well. He was like, but now we've got to a level where if you're not in the team for a week or two, you're going to find it very difficult to get back in. Now, he could be maybe indirectly referring to himself and Timber, what Timber is doing. But I mean, for me, it's not a bad thing because I think Ben White last season, if I break his season down, I felt his first 4 to 5 months were not to the standard that he set previously. And that's
there weren't 45 months in the season, mate.
I did get the 4-2.
A little chuckle.
yeah. But I think, his first 4 to 5 months weren't to the standard that we have associated with Ben White since he came to Arsenal. But that was down to the fact that he was playing through injury, and he was been playing through injury this season as well when he had to come into the game at Man City. So this could be a very good thing for Ben White as well in terms of us being able to manage him more, so that we're able to maintain that peak for longer periods, and we're able to see an even better Ben White because he has been playing for injury, and he's mentioned how his threshold for pain is quite high, and it's higher than your kind of your standard football. And maybe that's because of the experiences that he's had in the lower leagues, where it is a lot more, we kind of joke about it, but it is a lot more, you need to be tough. You need to be, that is like proper football, and I think it's a great position for us as Arsenal fans to have this much quality, but ultimately there is going to be disappointment for certain players because they're not going to be playing as much. But that's part and parcel of a big team, really, isn't it? So it's
it's what we want. It's not a bad thing. Just as a prediction, just to kind of round off this, and to be clear, I don't think it is Ben White. Who is your first big sale of this project? Because we haven't really had it. I mean, what I mean by that is a sale at a time where we don't want to sell. Like we sold, probably if we'd sold Ramsdale last summer, that would have been the first big sale of the sorry, George said something. It's a really good point. And this is why I'm slightly worried about Timber, because like about Ben White in the team, because if Calafiori's cooking, I don't think it suits Ben as much. I think it still can if he plays a little bit more conservatively. I don't know. It's one of the questions. Yeah, I think like who's your first big sale, on which I mean, 60, 70 million pounds. We don't want to. They're still in the team basically. Like we're gonna do that at some point. Pep has sold Sterling and Ferran and all these guys and stuff over the
and I don't think the likes of Jesus, Tomiyasu count. I don't count. They don't count. We're looking at Arsenal's like standard like best 11. Then you've got the likes of obviously
first 14, 15.
Yeah, first 14, 15. Yeah, it's hard to say, mate. It's hard to say. It depends on how we kind of platform players and their usage and where we see them. Like for example, Martinelli. No, actually, no. I'm not going to say that because I don't believe that. No.
What were we going to say?
I was gonna try and think of something with Martinelli, but I don't see that because I just think he's got another gear to go, and he's going to replicate that 22-23 season.
I think he does. He's not actually my answer, but I think Martinelli's not far off the shortlist only because of what Arteta's done. Like we've seen him try and sign Mudryk.
I think Martinelli's the easiest one out of our standard, like because you're not going to see Ødegaard go, you're not going to see Saliba go, Rice, Havertz, Saka. Now, I'm not saying it will happen, but I don't know if we finished with the goalkeeper iteration, even though I think David Raya is phenomenal.
Surely we have.
I just don't know, mate. I just don't know.
We don't know. And we're also projecting forward from a position. We don't necessarily know. I think Martinelli's on my list. Gabriel, the thing is like, it's such a good partnership.
I don't see it. No, I think he has limitations, as we know, but I can't see.
As a partnership, like that's gold. Like you don't change that for no reason.
You don't sell players who are in the top percentile in their position. You just don't.
Yeah,
he is in the top percentile.
So he's
hard,
one of
mate. Honestly,
he's one
it's
of the
hard.
fullbacks. You know, are we looking at Timber, White, or Calafiori? And also, does that need to happen? But it will happen at some point, and the question is who.
No, it absolutely will
know.
happen. Yeah, it will happen because squads evolve. And when we talk about, so there's always this talk about what's phase 4, phase 5, etc. Arteta's finished version. Arteta does not have a finished version. I'll tell you why. Because again, I'll refer to it, the Miguel Molina lecture, right? So within the hierarchy of Arsenal, and he mentions it, there's like analysts, there's set piece coaches, etc. There's a guy who is called the academy coach. Now, not as in like the academy, but he's called the academy coach. And his job is to identify new ideas, new trends that are happening across Europe. Like, for example, De Zerbi in terms of baiting, foot on the ball, standing vertically to not allow teams to kind of predict which way you're going to go, and releasing the ball late, that kind of stuff. There's a person there who's literally just, his job is to identify new ideas and new trends that are being used in football. And what that tells you is that this is a squad, well, this is a coach who is always looking to iterate. We're never going to find our final version of Arteta and Arsenal. It's always going to evolve. So I don't. So that's where to bring it back to the point that the discussion that we're having is that players will go. Like players that we're talking about now, they will go because they may not be able to do certain things that new trends and ideas require. Like, for example, Aaron Ramsdale with the not being able to play with good height to the confidence that David Raya does. It's interesting. I couldn't give you a name, to be honest, because it's something in the back of my mind is telling me like Arteta's obsession with goalkeepers as well. There's another iteration.
Yeah, the one thing we can say is if he sees a marginal gain, he'll do it. So, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, tough to say. Really tough to say. I'm looking, just reading the chat a little bit, and there's no there's no one obvious answer.
I feel like Martinelli's the easy one out of like the mainstays.
Yeah, the thing, but there's also a world in which, the left-hand side comes and he cooks, and if Martinelli's putting up crazy numbers, then yeah, of course we need to have a conversation. But right now, he at least he's one of the names. We can't deny that.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, we'll finish with this before we go on to some questions.
Actually. That was really good. Enjoyed that.
Thank you. Marshall. Court-martialed by me. Has my arse blog episode gone out? Sometimes when I go on something, when I go on something new, I check the comments just to check that I've that no one hates.
See, I can't bring comments out because I've not got the login for this laptop in it. So I was having a look through some comments and like Kivior, for example, Kivior. We can't include Kivior. That's an easy choice, isn't it? That's not like mainstays. No Kiviors, no Tomiyasus, no Zinchenkos, no Jesuses, none of that. None of those types of players. Like your mainstays.
Bournemouth.
Your ends.
My ends. Couple miles from my house. David Raya. Jurian Timber, probably with Ben White on the bench.
And Ben White to start Shakhtar for me.
William Saliba. Yeah. Gabriel Magalhaes.
Yeah.
Ricardo Calafiori.
This is interesting now. This is interesting.
Declan Riche.
Yeah.
Thomas Partey, Leandro Trossard. I think he'll hold back on Marino. I want Marino.
Let's do what we want. No, we got to do what we want.
Okay, Marino, Trossard, Rice. Rice.
Yeah, you need to put Havertz there because that's not going well with my brain because it is Havertz and
Kai Havertz. If they've recovered, Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. Yeah. Happy with that?
I agree. For me, it would be good. Sorry to cut you. For me, it would be good to have Jurian Timber have a 90-minute game post internationals, and Ben White to have a 90-minute game against Shakhtar, and then we can assess who starts against Liverpool. I think that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. What do you think of my pronunciations?
Spectacular.
Let's come to some questions from the chat. Let's do it. As many as we possibly can.
By the way, I think Bournemouth have been cooking this season. I think some of the results that they've had I've done them injustice. They've had some really good performances this season under Ari, and I think he's a very good coach. And what we're going to see from Bournemouth is a team that is going to press very high. It's going to press man to man on a lot of occasions, and then we have to ask ourselves: are we going to look to go long, which is a staple of our play predominantly, or are we going to look to try and play through pressure more? And for me, with a Rice, Marino, and Havertz nominal midfield, I'd like to see us try and play through pressure a little bit more in this game, because I think it'd be a good test against Liverpool to give us a little bit more variety. So, yeah, I'm very intrigued by this game because there's a lot of interesting dynamics with Semenyo, but also on the other side, you've got Kirkes and Tavernier.
I rate Kirkes. There's a lot of players that aren't top level players. Like, I'm never saying Kirkes or whatever should go to City or whatever. I think United could possibly do with him, but he's not top level, I don't think. But he's a brilliant player. These are brilliant footballers.
He was one of mine to watch this season. I think he's kind of like that traditional type overlapping fullback as well. That'll be an interesting dynamic.
Semenyo I rate massively. Tavernier is a good player as well. So
that'll be a good test for Calafiori. Going into the game against Salah next week, which is good. So
I don't know whether we'll play. We might play Timber at left back. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm kind of honestly. He could play Timber at left back, Ben White at right back. I'll be happy. Calafiori at left back, Timber at right back. I'll be happy.
Yeah.
You can play me at left back, and I would not be happy. Milo Haynes says, "What questions would you ask a professional footballer if you had them for 60 minutes in a casual interview?" Okay, so I think you approach this in a way. You've got to butter people up, and you've got to develop a rapport. You can't jump straight in with certain questions. But I think what you always do for me is go back, because it gets them speaking about probably things that are quite, emotionally charged, and then you bring it back to the present. And you hopefully have earned their trust by listening to them well and asking them good questions.
Yep.
And then I want to ask about things that we don't see. So what I'd probably do is, the thing is, they're trained to answer generalized questions. So they're trained to answer. So, if you ask them, what's Mikel like on the training pitch? That's a general answer. A general question, you're going to get a general answer. They're not going to tell you, oh, well, he said this thing to me the other day.
Yeah.
What I do, especially if I knew the player, last player, is I'd say, I do a bit of a personal disclose. This is revealing techniques. I do a personal disclose. I remember watching that game. You, in the second half, you did this. Did Mikel tell you to do that, or whatever it was? And you asked them specific things. Then they might back away from that, but then you're probably going to get deeper insight into actually what they were told to do.
Yeah.
The question marks and stuff like that. And things like, if you ask about specific incidents. So, like, for example, when you signed this player, I'm aware this thing happened at the training ground. Were you there? And things like that, you're going to get way more insight from actually what is going on.
It's kind of like, the Rice interview for The Athletic, and where he breaks down specific situations in the game. That's the kind of stuff. And actually, again, I know it's nerdy, but going back to that Miguel Molina thing, the lecture, he talks about how we don't do many positional games. When we're talking about 2-3-5, etc. There are certain staples that they have, and they're non-negotiable. But what they do a lot is situational things that happen in game. So, for example, if a winger presses the wide centre back, what do you need to do? What space do you need to occupy? I think they would those types of questions. I think they would like that, because that's kind of what they used to learning under Arteta and the coaching setup. So I think for me, I think Ben Foster actually smashed it with his interview as well, because he spoke. Do you not think? No.
I think he developed a very easy. I could tell Ben White was comfortable, but from what I want to hear from an interview, it wasn't what I wanted to ask. But
that's fair.
It's not bad. It's not a bad interview.
But I think it's also a lot of it is about ensuring the player is comfortable and be able to talk about exactly. And I think for me, the stuff about the dog walking and what you want to do after, I like that kind of stuff, and that for me is some of the questions that I would look to ask, because they don't always want to talk about football as well, do they? They want to.
No. And I don't think you should. I don't think you should. But my dream for the Cannon would be me, you, and George sit down with Mikel Arteta for an hour and a half, and just have an hour and a half just for us chatting, and we can go anywhere. And then you would naturally ask about his journey and whatever, to kind of, because you need that context. But then you'd ask specifics. You have to get specific, and that's what I'd be kind of interested in.
Ask him if he likes biryani.
Sure. Let's do. don't you pick a question, Rohan?
Yes, I will do, actually. Let's have a look. Okay, this is a good one. Imagine it's 2027. It's actually from Abe Warrior. Imagine it's 2027 and Arteta leaves us for Barcelona after winning 3 Premier League titles, 2 Champions League titles, and an FA Cup. Who would be the ideal replacement out of the current crop of upcoming managers?
Thomas Frank.
Ooh.
Thomas Frank's an Arsenal manager. He's got the emotional intelligence. He's got the working with what he has, but I also think if he had more resources, we'd see a lot more. He's got the innovation thing, like the set pieces. He's got the charisma.
I think he's very underrated.
He's classy. I really rate Thomas Frank.
Do you think? And again, this
That'd
is
be my pick.
You could have this question for any of these managers, but do you think he can make the step up with the media attention? Not to that level at Brentford relative to us, because this is where so I don't want to go too much into this, but this is where the Unai Emery and the Arteta debates for me. I just think there lacks so much nuance. Where when you look at Aston Villa, the level of attention and the pundits, ex-players, media, etc., you're not analysed under a microscope. You're just not. There are certain things that you can do that are not really spoken about. Whereas when you manage a club like Arsenal and you manage a club like Man United, every single decision is scrutinised. Everything you do is scrutinised, and it's a completely different ballgame. So this is one of the big things where, I can guarantee you now, a lot of these coaches in the Premier League, they're phenomenal. Tactically, they're excellent, but they're not able to implement their ideas. One, because of not having the opportunity to manage a big club, but also they don't have the resources to be able to buy the players that they want. Because I can guarantee you, Thomas Frank, the players that he has at Brentford, they're not the players that he'd obviously want, at the top club. But it's a case of, can you kind of be able to go under the radar, which is what he does at Brentford, despite the fact that he's done really well. He goes under the radar to then having all that attention managing a club like Arsenal. And this is where Arteta, I don't think we realise how good of a job he's done in his first managerial job to be able to cope with all of these things. It's
100% a step up. But in this question, it's saying basically there would be 3 Premier Leagues in a row and 2 Champions Leagues. That's an all-time era to follow, right? You don't need to set anything up. I don't think Thomas Frank, or haven't seen him, be like a project manager. We've seen Arteta do that, and I think Arteta has both because he's a special coach. But I think he's one of the best of this generation. But I think Thomas Frank could come in and be a steady hand. And you also, the mistake clubs make is they try, and the big thing which I think Liverpool did well with Slot, is they didn't try and replicate Klopp. They could have gone and got De Zerbi. It would have been a disaster because people would have just constantly compared him to Klopp. And he trying to play a similar tempo, even if with different principles. So it would have just been compared. I think. Do you also
think that Liverpool they had the Arne Slot appointment in their mind a year ago? Because I look at some of the players that they recruited recently, and they are Arne Slot type players as well. And I feel like they were going to go more towards this more technical type of side as opposed to the heavy metal. But actually, to answer that question, I need to watch more of him, and I know I'll keep talking about his thesis, but I genuinely think Thiago Motta's got insane potential. Insane.
So have you read his thesis?
I don't know, actually.
Don't know. Would either of you or George want to work for Arsenal? If so, what role would you want? You can make one up. George says, I'd love to be a video analyst like Questo or be involved as a scout. What would you do?
I wouldn't want to work for Arsenal.
Because you want to work for Leicester.
I genuinely wouldn't want to work in football. Genuinely.
Oh, come on.
No, genuinely, I wouldn't want to work.
Shut up.
No, I wouldn't want to.
Josh Kroenke calls you tonight and says you can have any job at Arsenal. What do you want? And you're like, no, I'm gonna carry on being an engineer.
Okay, fine. Actually, yeah. When you say it like that, true. That's true. But the point I want to make is, I have this fear, right, where when you work in football, you start to lose the love of the game for your own club.
True. It's true of anything.
And that for me, right, that hurts me a lot. Trust me, that hurts me a lot. I don't. That's where I'm a little bit hesitant, because I don't want to lose the love for my club.
Yeah,
for me,
I don't
know, Alex. I don't know. You could. Not if you. Yeah.
People in the chat saying stop being woke. Answer the question now.
Okay. Oh, fine. Yes.
I think I would want to be
Oh god, actually,
If,
answer the actual
if you're not
specific question.
if you're not going to answer it,
No, I'm going to
I
answer
think I don't think I have the football knowledge like at the top level. I think I think the skill I have, and I think the thing I do well is I can understand complex stuff about football and put it into simple terms. And that's, I think, where I found my niche and whatever, and put it into entertaining terms. And that's a skill. That doesn't translate to actually managing a club. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a very, very different thing. So I wouldn't be a manager, coach, whatever. Those guys live, breathe, eat, whatever. The thing I'd be interested in is some kind of cultural thing or like a media, some kind of overseeing of how we're perceived.
Yeah.
I think I'd be quite good at the sort of like pulling together of media narrative, ironically. I think I'd be quite good at the sort of handling how Arsenal are perceived in the media. I think it'd be quite good.
I'd like Miguel Molina's job. The like
Yeah.
to do with it. That would be what I would like, because for me, I don't think I have. Yeah, I think for me, I actually do believe that I've watched a lot of football now. I've read a lot of things like tactical theory, etc. I feel like I can, if I watch a team, I feel like I can break down what they do in different phases. Like I'd say pretty detailed because of how much football I've watched over the years, and I can, like I now for me, what I want to do actually, I want to create this piece, right? And it's like a massive piece where I want to break down every single trigger. I won't be able to get every single trigger, but like a lot of the triggers that happen in game, and regardless of what who the opposition is, what Arsenal do, and like I can see it, like everything, like something happens here, he's gonna go
like
here,
build models and stuff.
Yeah, and I'd like to do that kind of stuff. I wouldn't mind doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I can see you doing that. I think also like maybe like player liaison or something like that, like something in like handling communications or whatever. I think I'd do that. I think I'd do that well.
You'd be amazing in anything. You would.
That's very kind, Rohan. Someone says sports psychologist. With respect, the type of training I'm doing, Arsenal don't want their players to go through. Because it would reveal all the unconscious reasons why they're footballers. Yeah. And they don't want that. I'm trying to win my father's love. And it's frankly taking me out of Wolves away. Like they don't want me to do that. So that probably doesn't come.
To answer Nasser, I definitely wouldn't be a set piece coach. I don't know enough about set pieces, and it's something I need to learn more about. Like I know obviously what Arsenal do here, but there's so many more details to it that you'd be surprised. But I don't know enough about set pieces, like genuinely. Set pieces, there's a lot of things to do with set pieces, like a lot of details. Yeah.
We'll finish there. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for what have we done this evening? We've
gone just below 2 hours.
Yeah, we'll finish at 2 hours. We've got to do an outro. We have roasted my Hinge profile. We've watched you struggle with tech. We've spoken about Ben White. We've spoken about Bournemouth. We've spoken about we've given our awards out.
Yep.
We've spoken about Tuchel. We've spoken about tippy-tappy football.
Spoke about Sam Allardyce, getting the mixer bang.
Getting the mixer bash. Do you follow that guy on Instagram, the Big John?
Not Big John, but I do follow Tom Skinner.
Bash. We've got speaking of set pieces, we've got a set piece specialist coming on the podcast. If you want to watch the full episode of that, the like 20 minutes or so of it will be out on the main channel tomorrow. But the full thing will be available for patrons and YouTube members only. The instant reaction is back on Saturday. Rohan's not on it because he's scared.
I am traveling down. I've got a wedding.
Rohan and George did a great podcast on Monday. Maybe it went out Tuesday.
Apparently the audio was awful though.
It was my fault. We have a new editor, and I guys, my chest is here. Hit me, guys. I take responsibility. I did not give him the right instructions. We're going to sort that for next time. It's not your fault. It's mine. It's not you. It's me.
And we've got a main pod as well on Sunday or whenever.
Main pod. Do we want to say what's happening on the main pod? George, can we say? Is George still in the chat? Is George still here 2 hours later?
Go on, just say.
I think it's fine. I think we can say. Yes. Rohan's going to join us for the main pod. Actually, just to address this, so we initially, when Bav stepped back from the podcast, the idea was he would continue to be on the main podcast and on the interactions and so on. It hasn't worked out that way. He's had some health issues, and he's also wants to focus on his own content, which is totally fine. It's up to him. We were under the impression he would continue, which is why when we said what we said, that was the case. But yeah, so instead of Babs, and Babs will at some point be on the podcast again. It's not a complete. He's one of our contributors. But yeah, we're having Rohan on the main podcast as a permanent addition. Yeah, baby, it's gonna be sexy. It's gonna be the world's best Arsenal podcast. Let's be honest.
I really want to make this Sunday one. I need to just get back from the wedding. If I can get back from that on time, we can do it. We can do it on Sunday. For sure.
Rohan's been promoted. It's not promotion. He was always there.
It actually is my chair that makes the noise. It's not the laptop, even though it's like burning. It is actually burning. It's really warm.
Rohan's in the first team.
Oh,
let's go.
Let's
go.
Yeah, that's it. That's good.
It's good. It's good stuff. We'll finish there. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Predictions for
3-1 Arsenal.
2-0.
Vamos. Let's freaking do it, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching the Cannon podcast. I'm actually not doing a George impression. This is my Californian woman impression. Thank you so much for watching the Cannon podcast. You guys are so awesome. Make sure you subscribe and like the channel. You're freaking. I love soccer, and thank you so much. Thoughts?
Yeah. It's not your best. It's not your best. It's like I don't even know if it's a pass. I don't think it even hits 4 out of 10. Not gonna lie.
It's not good at all. It's not good at all. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here. We're here every Thursday at 7 p.m. on TCP Live, except for next week when I'm not here. But George and Rohan will do something, and then we'll be back. Love you all. Thanks for being here. Love you, Rohan.
Yeah.
Why do you struggle saying you love me? Because it's another man. Wow. Love you all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And thanks for keeping it Arsenal.